Class 8, It So Happened, Chapter 6, The Fight. The lesson, The Fight by Ruskin Bond, tells us a tale about two young boys who fight in the beginning regarding who owns the possession of the pool in the forest. The boys are named Renji and Suraj. Once they get tired and exhausted, they decide to continue their fight the next day. The following day, both of them somehow end up becoming great friends who are willing to help each other in learning and becoming a better version of themselves. The fight teaches us that fighting will not do anyone any good, and we should never be too proud. Instead, help one another and establish love and not hate with each other. Ruskin Bond is the author of this story. Ruskin Bond is an Indian author of British descent. He is considered to be an icon among Indian writers and children's authors and a top novelist. He wrote his first novel, The Room on the Roof, when he was 17. Since then, he has written several novellas, over 500 short stories, as well as various essays and poems, all of which have established him as one of the best loved and most admired chroniclers of contemporary India. In 1992, he received the Sahitya Academy Award for English writing for his short story collection, Our Trees Still Grow in Dehra. He was awarded the Padma Shri in 1999 for contributions to children's literature. The lesson begins by introducing us to a young boy named Ranji, who had recently moved to Rajpur. He did not have any friends there, and his school had also not begun. It was the peak of summer at that time, and he used to roam around forest. It was on one such hot day that he caught sight of a pool in the forest. The water in the pool was so clear that one could even see the bottom of it covered with smooth round pebbles. The pool was being fed by a small stream of water that emerged out of a cluster of rocks. In the monsoon, however, the stream would be rushing, coming down like a waterfall. But during summers, the rocks somehow managed to keep the pool intact, unlike the pools in the plains that would dry up. Reggie jumped into the pool without hesitation, as he was used to swimming alone or with his friends when he had lived with his parents in a thirsty town in the middle of Rajputna desert. There, he had seen only the sticky, muddy pools in which buffaloes rolled in. Thus, he jumped into the water, and his body moved flexibly as it was free of any fat. He came there again the following day to get some relief from the scorching heat. Once he swam in it for a while, he rested on the smooth yellow rocks under the shade of sal trees. Suddenly, his eyes fell upon a stranger who was looking at him from a distance. He was taller than him, a little older too, thickest, and had a bowed nose and thick red lips. Although Renji extended a friendly offer towards him to come and swim along, the other boy's tone was quite hostile. He told Renji that it was his pool and Renji had come there uninvited. He exclaimed himself to be a warrior, and Renji, on the other hand, exclaimed that he was a fighter, and both of them ended up in a violent fight. But after 5 minutes of unscientific struggle, neither boy emerged victorious. Their bodies heaving with exhaustion, they stood back from each other, making tremendous efforts to speak. All they could say was, "I am a warrior and I am a fighter." Suddenly, the warrior got an inspiration, and they both decided on continuing the fight the next day. As Renji reached home, it became difficult for him to explain the cuts on his face, legs, and arms. It was clearly evident that he had been involved in an unusual violent fight. His mother insisted upon him to stay indoors for the rest of the day. But somehow he managed to slip out in the evening to go to the bazaar. There, he found solace in a bottle of vividly colored lemonade and sweet jalebis. As he finished his lemonade, his eyes fell upon his approaching enemy. At first, he wanted to turn his head and look away. On second instinct, he wanted to throw the lemonade bottle at him. But he resisted and stood his ground as he looked at the other boy angrily. Next day, although Renchi felt weak and stiff from the previous day's fight, he could not refuse the challenge. It would mean that he surrendered. He was well aware that with his physical condition, he would anyway end up losing the fight. But then, he still had to show up. Half hoping that the warrior must have forgotten about the fight, Renji went to the pool. His expectations were crushed when he saw the opponent rubbing oil on his body. The other boy challenged him to come towards his side of the pool. Not wanting to submit to the conditions laid down by the opponent, Renji called the boy towards his side of the pool. The other boy provoked him, and thus Renji took out his vest, dived into the water, and cut through it like a knife, leaving the stranger's mouth open with amazement. The stranger asked Renji to teach him how to dive. Renji willingly helped him. The other boy was surprised to know that Renji could even swim underwater. He asked Renji to come to the pool every day and teach him how to dive and swim underwater. In return, he promised to help skinny Renji become Palwan. Both of them shared their names and agreed that the pool belonged to both of them and no one else could use it. Renji smiled in the end, knowing that he had conquered the day.